How about now? Now I should get an echo, right? Do we have? Yes. Okay. So that's hello YouTube. I can say hello to YouTube. I better just check that we're live everywhere. So hello, are we? Yeah, that's pretty good. So now are we on Twitch? Yes. Unmute. Hello. Yes. We are live. We are live in all the places. Hello. It's been a little bit. Just give me 2 seconds. Let me just put my phone away on charge. Be right back. Okay. We are here. We are live, which there we go. Hello. So, it's been a little bit. Sorry I've not been around. Hello YouTube for the first time. So I have had a bit of a busy one with some issues with housing and stuff, which I won't get into, which is what I'm going to use as the excuse for not being here. But I am back. I think I also, if you find older videos, you'll see I was talking about PC problems. Thank you, Arch Linux team, for putting the NVIDIA drivers for the 1080 in the AUR and finally giving me that push to leave Arch behind. But I have a mostly working system of which to actually run the stream. Hopefully, it's all okay. This is the first time I've used it to stream and record at the same time. Whoa, what's going on? There we go. So I need to do this. It looks like everything's working. I need to not bump my volume slider, but everything looks to be working. And this is the first time I'm streaming to 3 platforms at once. So that's why hopefully everything's working. Let me know if it's not. I'll have to go back and watch the streams. Thankfully, we're just looking at text on the screen. So if there is any kind of lag or anything, we'll deal with it. But the thing is, I have used an older PC to do a dedicated record. And so it is doing a record as well as doing 3 different encodes. So it's doing 4 encodes. I think I can actually fix that. I need to sit down and play with my encoding settings. In fact, I need to sit down and learn how to encode AV1. Um, I haven't. I used to do professional AV stuff, but that was before AV1 was a thing. So I can tell you off the top of my head how to encode H.264. All the interesting things on FFmpeg. But past that, I have no idea what I'm doing. So, straight off the top of my head, I can probably make it three encodes because my recording, my YouTube streaming settings, and my my recording settings are pretty similar. It's only Twitch, Kick, and YouTube streams. No, because the stream is similar to the recording settings because they're both 10,000 bits per second, 10,000 kilobits per second. Yeah. Anyway, no, enough about that. I've been writing a dice roller, and I really want to get it finished. In fact, technically, I believe it is finished. Technically, let's just put that there so that I can see the chat. Okay, so if I type some stuff here, if I go 5, hello, no, description. The pool size is 5 and the difficulty is 6. Now, there's a bug, but no, okay, it hasn't worked. That's unfortunate. However, I don't have any. What's it called? The thing is, though, I've just spent a whole lot of time. That's annoying. I really want to work on this and get this fixed. There's a bug. It should be working almost. Right. Where is the console? Look, I'm not gonna look at this. I'm going to start on the next thing. I'm gonna have to look at this and come back to it. The reason I'm doing that is twofold. A, because I'm just trying to get back into it. I want to make a little bit of progress on something, and I'm probably going to have to just sit there and debug it, which can be interesting, but I don't have the time right now. I've only got an hour-ish to stream. So instead, we're looking at starting the character sheet. So I am going to, in fact, so we're looking at the storyteller system, right? The storyteller system is best known for Vampire the Masquerade. However, there are other game lines like Mage the Ascension, Changeling the Dreaming, Wraith the Oblivion in that thing. However, if I look for Vampire the Masquerade character sheet, we can see, can I just view file, here we go. We can get an idea of what's on there. We've got some information about the character: name, player, chronicle, nature, demeanor, clan, generation, sire, concept. This stuff on the right, in fact, this stuff after clan, from clan onwards, changes depending on the game line. But it's general textual information that is here. After that, you have attributes. These are always the same. You've got physical, social, mental. So you've got 3 different pools or 3 different groupings. And then we've got strength, dexterity, and stamina, charisma, manipulation, appearance, perception, intelligence, wits. You can also think of them as like two actives and a defensive thing. So strength is how strong you are. It'd be damage and things like that. Dexterity is how good you are at moving, and then stamina is how good you are at like soaking damage or something like that. So if you go with the generic RPG combat scenario, strength is what you use to calculate how hard you hit. Dexterity is how you calculate how well you hit, and stamina is how you can take a hit. So, uh, like you would actually go dexterity plus brawl to land a punch. Then it would be strength plus strength is then the stat that you use to calculate your damage pool, and then the opponent would roll stamina to soak the damage. I believe that I've seen people talking about them with different, like specifying it, and it was like I can't remember what the first two were, but it was two sort of active abilities and then a defensive ability. And then they like this idea of it going through the table, and they use this to justify appearance changing in later editions. So in Chronicles of Darkness, Chronicles of Darkness is what they renamed the New World of Darkness to. And then in V5, which then also has things a little bit different, but I'm now ranting about what these actually are in the storyteller system, as opposed to talking about developing it. That's okay. But yeah, we've got this translating across like all those physical things. In the social thing, you've got the same kind of thing. You've got charisma and manipulation, which are active things, and then you've got appearance, which is more of a passive defensive thing. Now, this is where I was getting to with what I was saying. People wanted to change appearance to resolve or something like that. I think it's different depending on the different system. In fact, we can look this up, Chronicles of Darkness. Character sheet. No. Come on. You can do it. Oh, God. Why is this website so slow? I just want to see. View file. Here we go. So they've got the character one, the strength, the physical one's in the middle here. We've got but here it's composure, presence, manipulation, and composure. What is V5? Let's go V5. You'll know what V5 is, right? Charisma, manipulation, and composure. So people had a hard time with appearance and thought it was just how pretty you are. It's like, oh, you're really hot. Oh, you're really ugly. But it should be how you are showing yourself to others. Yes, being good looking or very ugly is part of that, but pretending that you are fine when you are not is appearance. And again, we've then got that translating over into the mental groupings as well. Perception, intelligence, and wits. Though this one doesn't translate so much, I think. Here you've got resolve in Chronicles of Darkness, and it's resolve again in V5. Whereas wits is kind of, these are all, in fact, I would think that intelligence is the non-active one in this grouping. But in any case, you've got these three attributes, and then we go down, we've got abilities, which are skills, talents, and knowledges. More specific things that you train and get good at. We then have things that are specific to the splat. So vampire has disciplines. Everyone has backgrounds in advantages. Everyone's got merits and flaws, but all of this other stuff is specific to vampire. So disciplines is magic powers. Virtues is specific to the humanity system, the humanity path system. So you have the idea is in this game, you've got a stat that represents how humane you are, or how far progressed you are on a path of enlightenment, humanity being the default one. Which gives you then conscience, self-control, and courage. Though other paths of enlightenment might give you conviction and instinct instead of conscience and self-control. So if we look up Mage the Ascension, for instance. This is the V5 one. Here, it's completely changed. We've got spheres, which is the magic stuff in here. You don't have any kind of humanity things. You'll see that we don't have the virtues. You do have willpower. Willpower is there. But otherwise you've got arret, I think, and quintessence and paradox. So those are two interesting. Those are all very specific to the splat. If we instead then look at Changeling, for instance. The Dreaming. It's got a whole lot of other stuff. It's got arts. So arts and disciplines are the same thing, the magic thing. It's got this realms grouping, which is an additional thing for going into Fey magic. Glamour and willpower. Glamour is sort of the humanity-like thing, but different. And then it's got a few other things. So basically, the only things I care about, or no, probably the way to put it is the main things are attributes and abilities. They work by, when you're playing the game, you form a dice pool. You go, I want to see if someone's there, someone's hiding. So I'm rolling perception plus alertness. So I add my perception attribute to my alertness ability. That gives me the number of dice that I roll, and I roll that. So I care about attributes and abilities as one, I guess, class, one type of data, or two types of data, whatever. I've then got other attributes that are kept numerically, but not necessarily feeding into the dice roller. or as well as other attributes that are kept numerically and are fed into the dice roller. There's also like health and things like that. So if you've taken damage, it actually gives you a negative modifier to your dice pool. But essentially, I'd need to be able to record an item with a name that has a numeric value, and then just textual items, and then they have to be stored and synced across the server. So if we jump over here, we're going to need to make, in fact, I'm not even going to write, I'm not going to do that. We're not going to play with to do stuff. What we're instead going to do is jump into the ASD file, and we're going to declare a new file that it will load. And so a new component. This component will call, we'll just go character sheet for now. And I need to now make a new, so I want to edit src character sheet dot lisp. Now I'm going to want to say that I'm in the right package. In fact, what is that? If I go package list, let's just copy this. In fact, I should be able to jump to the bottom here and get myself in this package so that I can run commands here. Character, no, that's my mini buffer, not my, list of open buffers. Yeah, I want to open the character sheet, and we're in the package, and we're just going to save that file. Cool. Okay. So we then want to change, because as I'm making this, I'm loading this dice roller. I don't want to do that. I want to have to switch back and forward. But let's open the dice roller. There'll be a HTML thing. Dice roller style. There lots of style stuff. The dice roller itself. So this is the function that's being called. So let's jump in here and we'll make a new thing. Character sheet. And we're going to go character sheet. And I think we're just going to get rid of all of that. Let's put a character sheet. Is that way I've got a log. Maybe I should write a logger. The character sheet. HTML. Okay. Now let's, was it CCCX? No, or was it Control Alt X, maybe? I don't remember what any of the slime keys are. Slime compile file works. And now I should be able to jump into maybe server, maybe web server. Basically at some point here, we are telling it, I think this is all the generic stuff. Let's try server. Yeah, it may be in here. So when we're starting the server, we're making a WebSocket server and a clack handler. Well, we're making just a handler that's calling handler. Where is handler then? Web server handlers, maybe? And no, this is the generic web server. Let's go back to the ASD file, because the load order might tell us something. Main just starts it. Server is what we were just looking at, and it just sets up. This is the start and the start thing. Web server and client HTML. So web server is this one. Client paths, get root. Uh, 404 handler. Here is handler. Handler tells it to do a bunch of stuff. We've got a bunch of test things. So I essentially need to make a client HTML. Yeah, here we go. Defun client website. String dice roller. So instead of string dice roller, we're going to have string character sheet. And if I do that, then come over here and hit F5, it's gonna crash. Character sheet doesn't exist inside ST. Okay, we'll abort. Yeah. Abort. All the things. We're in ST engine. There's no character sheet. Okay. What did I call the damn thing then? In character sheet. Let's go. Did I spell it wrong? Okay, I've got the where's this coming from? Oh, because I'm also outputting the log. Okay. So client HTML. I'll put this here. In fact, I don't want to. We'll do that. I might need to do this. And then, okay, just a character sheet. Cool. So, client HTML. I don't want it to be in the client HTML. I want to be in the character sheet. Awesome. So, what we wanted to do, we wanted to make, let me find the vampire one because that's the one that everyone remembers. We wanted to make this. So I could just go, in fact, we'll do it, we will for the moment. There's going to be a div. And that's going to, is it div class? We're going to have a div for the main information, the header information. The character sheet header. Then we're going to have another div for the attributes. And then we're going to have another div for the advantages. No, abilities. I'm skipping one. And then we'll have another div for the advantages. And then we'll have another div which we'll just call other. I will put character sheet at the beginning of each of those. And then we're going to have other lists. So in here, we're going to have div stat group, stat group. And in that stat group, we're going to have like span, I think. Span class. This is need a class. And this is going to be something like, so this is for the header. The headers don't have names, so that's fine. Yeah, so that's a stat group. The span class, and the first thing is name. So we're looking at stat. It's just a stat. It's a statistic. Yeah. So span class stat, and then we're going to have like label can't remember what it is now, but there's a thing that we group them with: name, 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 and then the label is immediately followed by an input. I can't remember any of what is supposed to be here, but it's a text input, something like that. So we need a list of those things. And then in class, we're going to have something similar, except this is going to have a name, physical. The label is going to be strength, and it's going to write out strength. And instead of an input, I'm not sure what this is. Or maybe it's radio buttons, and there's 5 of them, or something. I'm not sure, but we've then got something here to represent dots. And I will go to the effort of having a number of dots as opposed to just a number, though a number would work as well. So if I do this, let's see what we get. Oh yeah, it actually worked. Cool. And if I jump in here, we can look at whoa. This is interesting. I've not had this happen before, where I've had it 2 rows of panels. So I've got all of the code that we'd written for the dice roller. That's always going to be there. But yeah, it doesn't have pretty formatting. That's unfortunate. That'll make it harder to read. I should go and I should look at changing that, but I'm not going to do that right now. What I want to do right now is I want to specify a few things that go in a character sheet. Def parameter. And we're going to go attributes. And I think I'm supposed to do this, aren't I? The attributes are going to be a list. Are they? We'll do it as a list for the moment. So we've got physical. Let me just do this. And physical has strength. Dexterity, and stamina. Am I doing? What is this structure? They're association lists now. Okay. Physical. What is it? It's physical, social. Charisma. Manipulation. And appearance. What have I done? Oh, yep, that makes sense. And mental. And it's perception. And I do believe that S should be a C. Perception, intelligence, and wits. Okay. What's going on here? Oh dear. Now, how is it that you like that? There we go. Balance stuff. Okay, so now we're doing this because I don't want to write out a whole lot of different things. Instead, what I want to do is I want to create that structure. How do I do this? Do I go with HTML to output again in another function? I don't remember how to use this at all. We'll go test, def on test. And we're just going to go with HTML output to string S. And I'll just put, for the moment, I'll just put this in here. And then we'll put test here. And so I should be able to run that and then run this. And then hit F5 and we don't get anything interesting. What happens if I call what's the thing called? Client HTML. Client website. Yeah, we've got. Yeah, okay. So hang on. Let me actually do this. I said I wasn't going to do it right now because I wanted to just work on the thing, but I'm going to have to do it in order to. What am I even talking about? It's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring up the ASD file. So we're using CL who. So this should be the REPL. And over here, CS who pretty formatting. Common Lisp. Pretty printing. Okay, next. Next. What are we doing? We're pretty print. Yeah, so this is, hang on, Common Lisp, CL Who. It's just going to be in the CL Who documentation, right? That's, hate that. CSS formatter, what the hell? Okay. Format T. We'll just print it. Indent. So if I go snil indent T on my with HTML output to string, that will, so if I go client HTML, if I do this, we jump back to here and then jump in here, get to the bottom, and it starts to do it and then stops doing it. So I've got body, and then it's when we turn the character sheet into a, okay. Yep, that makes sense. So if we can then jump over to the character sheet, it was nil and indent T, and I'm going to need to do that here as well. Nil indent T. So I can do this and compile that one as well. Refresh this page, and hey, and I can then just run client website, was it? And get it there. So for the purposes of testing, let's just put client website here, because then I can, oh, that doesn't, no. Okay. What if I do format T client website? There you go. And then I can see what I'm actually making. Good. Test isn't a great name, but that's okay. What I want to do is I want to make this a function that takes a list. What are we doing? We're doing We'll do the groups. We'll take the whole field. Yeah, we will. We'll take the whole group. Names, I'm going blank. I should be giving it a meaningful name like, because they're not at, it's like, don't want to call it character sheet everything. It's going to make everything way too long. I want it to be, print stat section. Stat section. And we're taking the section now. I've not yet done. Oh, yes, I have. You have to wrap it in string. Okay, that's fine. So we are making. Well, won't worry about it right now. I was just thinking, I've just realized that we're going to need to do this twice, once to get text inputs like this, and then once to get whatever we're actually generating here. So this is interesting. I want to make, well, hang on. I've got this. Sorry. I've got this. I've got this attributes parameter. In fact, let me make sure I do have that attributes parameter. Let's just step through that. So first of all, I'm creating a stat group. It should be stat group is physical. Anyway, that doesn't really matter so much. So for loop, for item in attributes. Do and this is where we're doing the div. So we're making this stat group thing. The first thing it will have is its own label, which for the moment we'll just represent with a P. And here we want. Now I think I need to do string loop through here and I want to make actually, I don't think I want that. I need to delete one of those. Let's move this to here. Okay. So the div has a class of stat group. It's going to have some kind of a label, and this label is going to be the string. In fact, I might just be able to go item, and then inside of that, we'll have some stats. So if I run this, I've got a style warning. Variable section is never used. No. That's true, actually. I shouldn't be using this. I should be using section. And then when I call this, I'm not calling test, I'm calling stat section attributes. Whoa. So I can rerun that, recompile that. And then we run this here and well, okay. So I don't need this. I might just need to recompile client website. There's a good possibility I've got a macro in there that I need to recompile. But yeah, if I just run this character sheet one, let's actually make a prog n. Format T test character sheet. Let's put some new lines here. There we go. Okay. So now every time we run this, we're going to get what we're getting in the character sheet. And it's when we get to the character sheet attributes that it should start to do something new. And it's then calling stat section attributes, which I need to tell it to turn into a string, I think. Is that? What am I doing? Client HTML is calling string and calling character sheet inside that. So yeah, that is basically what I want. Let's in stat section, helps if I rerun this, and then we can, yep, so we, in stat section, let's move this up to here so that we can swap between them relatively easily. Now, in this loop, what's happening in this loop? Format T loop on a put a new line there, and we want to see item. In fact, let me do that. And then loop on yes. So this is where we're doing 3 loops. So that's what we want. Hang on, let me refresh this and see. We're getting everything, and in here, in character sheet, and we're getting the data. Yeah, okay. So that's cool. So do I need to do like this? Because I should, like, I should get some output. Even if what I'm doing is wrong. CL who str is undefined. Okay, because I'm not calling str inside CL who there. I have an idea. Collect. Because HTML output to string returns a string. So let's try this. That doesn't like that. I'm guessing that this doesn't like it because I've got 2 things happening in the collect. Yeah, because now I don't have any compiler notes. What are we doing? What? Something wrong with my keyboard? What's going on? Okay, let's buffer switch. Whoa. MX, escape MX is undefined. What has happened? Oh, weird. Okay, so because it was a temporary buffer, but why? I don't understand why that's changed my keystrokes, because I was hitting control and it was telling me I was hitting control alt. Like control X was telling me control alt. Very weird. Very, very weird. But that compiled without issue. And so now, yes, that's working. So, except that I'm getting item, and item has nothing in it. So let's put str to item, but that's because item isn't actually a string like I wanted it to be, like I thought it was going to be. But that's because I haven't done association lists properly. So now I'm getting, yeah. So if I do this, like what the hell is all of this? Why am I getting Lisp in here? So common Lisp. ASOC list. Oh God. I won't, fine. Association lists, which are kind of like dictionaries in other languages, except dictionaries are hash maps, and this is a list, not a hash map. So they work the same for the programmer, but I am iterating through a list when I use it, as opposed to a hash map, which would be faster at the cost of the memory. So what is going on here? What is this website? Why are we whatever. Association lists. So this is saying I've got pair list 1, 2, 3, and 4. So yeah, it's got an association list at the end, and then it's pairing 2 lists into 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so when you iterate through the association list, so I have represented this correctly. Okay. Common Lisp, let's just see. I want to loop through everything in the... This is that website again. Advanced iteration methods. Loop for X being the elements of... Does the loop macro have something special for association lists? I mean, I could just... I could just use car. I could just do what I'm doing and use car. I might do that. Now, if I do car here, now that's no string, but it should be returning a string. but it's not doing it. Okay. So I do still need to have I still need to call string in order to get the physical, social, and mental bit. Whoa, maybe that was working. Hang on. No, it's not. Do I have the redo thing on? I don't. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. So we're just using P for the moment, and we're getting string car. Whoa, where'd my cursor go? String car item there. And cool. So that's how that works. I'm going to now want another function. I could do it in that function as well, but I'm starting to get further and further off to the right. Stat. Let's go HTML stat. And we'll make this one HTML stat as well. And where was I calling that? Wrong direction. Here, okay. Now, HTML stat is going to have a group. It's going to take a group. And right now, that group will just be a list. So what I'm going to do is down here, we will then call string so that we can call the Lisp and get it to whatever it returns to become a part of the HTML string. We'll call HTML stat. And then we're going to pass it the CDR of item. And now then we're going to take this. For the moment, I'm just going to dump it here. I'd better grab this. This one as well. And I'm going to need another paren. But I also want to just return the group as we've got it. So we'll go format T HTML in HTML stat group A, and we'll see what group looks like. And now I'm going to need to redo all of these before I run it. And okay, so in HTML stat, we've got the list List of strings. Brilliant. That's exactly what I want. So I want to loop for stat in group. We will collect the HTML output. So the span has a stat class, and the name will not be strength. It will instead be str, just str stat. And we then want to have 5 of these. Except we won't eventually, but that's what we'll do for the moment. I'll just put everything on one nice thing there. That wasn't where I thought I was going to go. Whoa. And here, there we go. So we should be getting, oh, hang on, for stat in group. What have I stuffed up here? I mean, it's giving me something. Oh. Oh, hang on. Quote. That's odd. In here, let's go format T. A stat. So that should, as I'm processing it in HTML stat, and then we're getting quote and oh, it's because I'm an idiot. I'm like quoting quoted things, so of course the quote gets quoted. I'm just a complete idiot. Now this should give me what I want. Yes, it does. And I've got radio buttons. So, okay. That's cool. Now I could go and put the attributes in, but that's just me writing a list of attributes. And at this point, I'm just looking at the time and realizing how much time I've wasted, like getting everything set up and streaming working. Because I was also getting YouTube streaming working for the first time. Took an hour in the end, and yeah, I thought I was gonna get start streaming before 8, and nope, it was maybe just a little bit before 9. Oh yeah, no, it was before 9. So I need to look at wrapping up, but that's some good progress. What we need to do now is work out a few different things. So I don't need this anymore, so we'll change this back over to the README. I do have progress here. So the character sheet is now in progress. It's going to have a number of items. And so what is it? Org, new org section, org to do, insert to do heading, insert to do subheading. That's not the one that I wanted. What if I do it here? Org insert to do subheading, and I get the progress bit. Change that to this. Stick you back to do. We don't need that. Okay. So the design is going to be such that we have a HTML stat. Stat should have doing this in the to-do file is actually harder than I don't know. I need a class. I think that this is using the object system makes sense here. We actually want an object. Because we want to store this data and we want to be able to have multiple versions of this, and they want to have different things. So what we do want to store, we need to have an object, and that's going to have the abilities. It's going to have the attributes. It's going to have a trait max. Oh, they're called traits. Not stats, there's traits. Hang on a second. Let me stat trait GC. Okay. Yep. Yep. Traits. I suppose I shouldn't be specific about the names, hey. Like the system isn't copyrightable because rules are not copyrightable. But when you start getting very specific about names, then I think it's still technically fine. It's when I start publishing things with their actual IP, like the word trait. Yeah, I don't know. It should be fine. But they have a trait max. And so we shouldn't be printing 5 radio buttons. We should be printing the number of radio buttons that represents your trait max. The other thing is, in fact, let's look at this right now. HTML radio buttons. Type radio. Yes. Like, what are the... Which is the page? If I I know that the W3 Schools website has a page that just lists all of the options that I want. If I find input in here, input type, yep. Look, so I need, so ID, name, and then value. Value? The value attribute defines the value the value is not shown to the user, but it is sent to the server on submit. Okay. The other thing is maybe I don't want radio. I probably actually want the checkbox. HTML checkbox options. And I just want to make it look round. Or maybe I want to create my own button entirely. Why is everything so large? That's probably readable, right? I know I need to revisit my scaling settings. I've got them to where I thought that they might work for stream. But some websites are just not readable if you have more than one, if you have two windows up. So here we go. Label is 4. So label is 4. And then you need to have an ID. And if I'm going to do it like this, actually a label doesn't make sense. So span, and then it's just the value as well as, you know, a class. Now, these inputs just by themselves, this probably could be a form. That doesn't have a submit button, but that's okay. It would then have an ID, and the ID would need to be, it would need to be character. Yeah, actually, that's a point. we need to take character and group. And so then we'd need a string that is format nil a character, maybe it's character name, I don't know, and then trait. And then it's class trait, yep. And then each of these inputs, whether they're radio buttons or something else, will have its own ID. And this will also need to be a derived string. Format T, no, not T, nil. I don't want it to print to the console. But it would be something similar. 2 items. It'd be character, trait, and then an iterator. So it would be something like string loop. Actually, we're doing that thing. The thing where we're going further and further to the right. Print trait track, or HTML trait track, and we want trait. We want character and trait. And then we're going to loop for trait for I from 1 to whatever trait max is, trait max. We'll just make that trait max its own thing for the moment. We're going to then collect with HTML output to string snil indent T. Let's grab this. Whoa. Radio button that we were making. So we've got a radio button. It's got an ID. It's going to have the ID of nil format character. And I need another thing, I. So the iterator, the index. And so that should make that. I'm going to take trait max out. No, I'll leave it there. Because I know, hang on. Trait max. I know what I can do. And optional trait max 5. So now we've got an optional trait max. We're back at the REPL. Okay, we've got an optional trait max in there. And so now if I call this function, I should be able to get rid of these radio buttons. Caught a style warning. I need to tell it character and trait. I should now get the same output. However, when we look at the... Nope. No. That hasn't got me the same output at all. HTML trait. What's going on? Did I need to do this? I did need to do this. Aha. HTML trait selection. What does that want? It wants the character now. But we don't have one of those yet. So we'll just put a string in there. Style warning on the thing still. In function. What? So we're here. We're define character sheet. In character sheet, we're calling HTML trait section trait engine attributes. Well, we shouldn't be calling trait section HTML trait section attributes. We should be calling. Oh no, we did that, and so now we are calling it with char. There is the first thing. Undefined function HTML trait section. Oh. Okay. We'll take the character, and the issue is that this one wasn't ever doing anything with it. Whoa, my bad. That's the wrong place to put that. So we come back to here. Now, if I run this, it works. So, except that I'm outputting type radio. Hang on, what's going on? Type radio. Charwitz 1, Charwitz, what? How is this happening? I mean, this is coming back correctly into the ID. So that sort of fixed. Why is it happening on the input as well? So it's happening to both in the spot that I want it to happen, but also not in the spot that I want it to happen. That is very strange. Um, HTML. Hang on. What's happening outside that? So, span width class width. What? Oh. Something very strange is happening. Form char. There, that's a very weird bug. Well, unfortunately, I don't have the time to look into it because it's very much time for me to wrap this up. So, thanks very much for watching. If you're watching, I'm guessing you're watching on YouTube because I didn't have any viewers this whole time, I don't think. Or maybe I did, but no one said anything in chat. I've had to open up chat separately, and so I haven't actually been looking at the stats for the streams. I've only been looking at chat. So if I've had viewers in anywhere other than YouTube, I don't know it. But thank you very much for watching. I hope this is interesting, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.